If you're having thoughts or feelings of self-harm or suicide, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255. Hi everybody, it's Leo with One Happy Widow. Thank you for coming back and checking out my channel. To make sure you don't miss any more videos, make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell at the bottom, and you'll be alerted every time we have a new video. So today, I'm going to be real with you guys. I did not want to make a video today because I have had a rough couple of days. When we have a rough couple of days, we feel it's hard to tell somebody else to keep your chin up when we're having a rough couple of days. But I decided to go ahead and push through and just be real with you, and I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put a smile on my face, and I'm going to tell you that you can be one happy widow or widower even on tough days. So I might have had a couple of tough days, but I know better days are coming. I'm going to go with that. So we're just going to look forward, keep going, moving ahead. So today we are going to talk about the 5 areas of growth for widows. When we talk about moving forward, when we talk about trying to find happiness, trying to find our joy, there are going to be some areas that we need to work on, and we may have a lot of areas that we need to work on. So what I've done is I've narrowed it down to 5 main topics of areas that we need to concentrate on. And I'm going to break those down. So if you're not sure where to start, you know you want to be happy, you know you want to go find happiness, you want to put one foot in front of the other, but you're not sure where to start, this will give you an idea of how to narrow it down. Okay, we're going to take some broad topics, we're going to narrow them down a little bit smaller, and then you can decide what area of growth that you're going to work on first. We're going to focus on one thing at a time. Just like in my last video where I did a 28-day health reset for myself. I wanted to get healthy, I wanted to eat better, I wanted to drink water, I wanted to work out, I did all that kind of stuff. So I was focusing on my physical health. So the first area of growth that I want to talk about is mental health. Mental health is probably one of the biggest areas of growth for us because we're dealing with a loss, we're grieving, and we hurt. And our heart hurts, and our head is not knowing how to interpret all of these feelings and what to do, and so it does affect our mental health. So some things that you might want to work on for mental health: you could try prayer, you could try meditation, or just sitting and giving yourself some quiet time and having a few minutes to think about things. You could try talking to someone. That could be a counselor, it could be a pastor, it could be a co-worker, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, somebody that you trust. But sometimes just getting it out kind of helps us to ease some of that burden of things that we're holding on the inside. You can try to journal. You can either write in a journal, you could type in a journal, you could start a blog. That's kind of like an online journal. This YouTube channel is kind of like a journal for me because I'm talking about the experiences that I have as a widow and how I'm grieving. But sometimes, again, just getting those feelings out. If you don't want to talk about it, maybe you want to write about it, or maybe you want to draw about it. If you really think that you're struggling with your mental health, more serious than something that meditation would help or something that just talking to someone would help, then you may need to seek some professional help. You may need to seek a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a doctor of some sort. They can give you some medical advice or maybe even some medications, but that's out of my realm. But if you feel like you need more help than just what we're talking about here in this video, then I would advise you to see a doctor. If you want to try a more natural route, there's also supplements that you could try, and there's a wealth of knowledge out there online. Just kind of Google that, and there are people who swear by certain things, and sometimes it's a little trial and error to try different supplements and natural remedies that you can try and see what works for you. And also for your mental health, then you could go join a church or some other, some sort of temple or some synagogue or something where you could join with other people that share your same faith, and they might be able to be an emotional help for you. Area number 2, that's going to be physical health. So I did a video last week talking about that a little bit, how I focused on that for me. So I spent a whole month focusing on my physical health. Next month I'm going to spend a whole month focusing on something else. When we get to the end of the video, I will let you know what I'm going to be focusing on next. But for now, we're talking about physical health. You could try working out. All sorts of ways to work out. You could hire a personal trainer. Some people can afford it, some people can't. I happen to have a daughter who is a personal trainer, so sometimes I can get some freebies out of her. If you can afford to hire a personal trainer, go for it, because they will be an excellent source of motivation for you. You could go for a walk. That's free. Go outside, get some fresh air. convene with nature, you know, just let your mind kind of wander on things. And sometimes when I go for a walk, it helps me to kind of clear my head. You could get a treadmill. If you don't want to buy one new, you could go on Craigslist. You could go on your local Facebook marketplace, and you would be amazed at the people who are nearly giving away exercise equipment that they don't use anymore. Find yourself a workout buddy. Get somebody else who also wants to focus on their physical health and hold each other accountable. Go work out together, or even find somebody online and just kind of check in with each other. There's all kinds of Facebook groups that you could join where you're holding yourself accountable and your workout buddy accountable. It keeps you from giving up so easily. So sometimes that's all it takes to kind of get out there and to get moving. You could join a class, Zumba class, a yoga class, any kind of aerobics class, CrossFit, you know, they have classes. There's a countless number of gyms out there. Just go out there and find a class and something that might be interesting to you, and it gives you a chance to meet with people and socialize with other people, and it also gives you a chance to get in shape. Of course, eating healthy. So you can watch my video about eating healthy. I will go ahead and post a link right there to the video where I did a mental healthy reset for 28 days, and I talked a little bit about eating healthy. But pretty much you don't have to follow a strict diet, but you know what's healthy and what's not. If you look at your plate and say, is that healthy? You're gonna say yes or no. If you're iffy, just go with no. You know, give yourself a treat every once in a while, but pretty much try to stick with unprocessed foods. Try to stick with real stuff that grows in the ground, or stuff that eats the stuff that grows out of the ground. And pretty much you can't go wrong with those things. Again, I'm going to reiterate hydration. Drink water. Drinking water will be like a magic pill for you. It helps your organs to work better. It helps your metabolism to work better. It helps your joints to move better. So it will keep your kidneys flushed out, will keep all of your other organs flushed out. It will help your mind be clearer. There's a lot of different theories about what is enough water. I just stick with anywhere from half a gallon to a gallon. Okay, that's 64 to 128 ounces per day. Drink water. Okay, so that's it for physical health. So our next big topic is going to be number 3, and that is finances. So if you are wanting to focus on your finances, one thing that you might want to do is to create a budget. You can create it on paper. You can create it on a spreadsheet. There's all kinds of planners out there. There's all kinds of programs out there, software out there that you could try to do budgets with. Just go out and find something. Sometimes just planning it out is enough to help you think twice about how you spend your money. Set yourself up with a budget, and if you're really struggling, then find out what you can cut out and really stick to it really strict. Try it for a month and see if that helps. You could go see a banker or a financial planner. You can go in there and at least get some sort of plan and meeting with them at least one time and see where they think you might need to go with your money. Especially if you have inherited some money, a life insurance policy or a big piece of property or something like that. If you've lost a spouse and you came into like a windfall of money, you might not know what to do with it. And so if you are unsure, you might want to talk to a financial planner and just at least get some options. If you're trying to focus on your budget, you need to monitor your credit. This is one thing that I have learned how to do over time. My credit is still, it stinks, okay? But I know how to monitor it, and I know what I need to do. I need to pay down on some credit cards. There's all kinds of free little score trackers like creditkarma.com and things like that. I don't know how accurate they are. Even if the number doesn't exactly match what Equifax might say or Experian might say, it still tells me whether it's going up or down. So I can still follow the trends, and I monitor that about every week or two. Also, I'll put a link below, but there is one website out there called annualcreditreport.com. It's where you can go once a year and you can get a free credit report from them. Lastly, when we want to talk about finances, this is the kind of serious thing that is kind of unique to us as grievers, widowers, people who've lost someone. If you got a life insurance policy, if you got life insurance, if you didn't get life insurance, either way that happened, you now know the importance of having a life insurance policy on your surviving family members. If you got a life insurance policy, you are very appreciative and grateful because you realize how helpful that was. If you wish that you had a life insurance policy that you could have cashed in, you know also how important that it is and how much more it could have helped you if you'd had one. We never know when our time is up. And so we know better than anybody else that we need to plan for our survivors. So if something were to happen to me, I have life insurance set up. The sad thing is I'm telling you to prep for the future and I don't have a will yet. I keep putting that off, but I need to make a will because I need to let somebody know who I want my kids to go to, because guess what? My kids only have one parent now. If something happens to me, they won't have any more parents. And I got to figure out who's gonna finish raising them. And I don't want anybody to fight over that, over who wants to or who doesn't want to. I don't know how that would go, but either way, I want my wishes to be known. If you're grieving the loss of a loved one, you know how important it is to prep for your survivors. And so get out there, get you something set up, even if it's only $25,000. Get yourself enough to bury you at least, so that you don't have to put that burden on your family members if something like that happens to you. Okay, the fourth area of growth for widows and widowers is going to be career. Some of us were housewives and had to go to work. Some of us worked and decided to stay home and raise our kids. So there might have been a lot of career changes for us whenever we lost our spouse. First of all, you might realize when you return to work, you have to decide when to return to work if you do. Some people take extended time off. Some people come right back to work. My husband died over summer vacation. And so it was about 5 weeks before I had to go back to school. And so that was basically the time that I took before I went back. My current husband lost his wife, and he owns his own business. And she passed away on a Wednesday or a Thursday, I'm not really sure, on his day off. And he had to go to work the next day because he didn't have anybody to cover for him. He's his own boss. And so he had to deliver the milk on the day after his wife died. But just remember that when you do return to work, you might have trouble focusing. You might not be as efficient as you once were. And hopefully you'll have a supervisor or a boss or something that will give you some grace and you know, kind of give you some patience. You may find yourself having trouble focusing, having trouble being able to do the same kind of things that you did at the same speed as before. Give yourself some grace and be kind to yourself, and just know it's going to take a little while before you're the same worker that you were before, and you may never be the same worker. You might want to decide to go for a promotion. Give yourself some goal to work for. You might decide that you're going to really focus on yourself and your job, and you're going to get that promotion. You want to make that raise. You want to do something for yourself, so, you know, something to work towards. You might need to change jobs. I changed jobs. I didn't change careers, but I changed jobs because the people that I worked with knew me and knew my husband, and they probably didn't think this, but in my mind, every time I went to work, I felt like they looked at me and said, "Oh, that's that widow lady." And they probably didn't, but that's just how I felt. And so I had a really hard time. And, you know, things just triggered me. Memories got triggered every time I went to work, every time I was at work. And so I just felt like I needed to get away. And in addition to that, I needed to go part-time because my kids were grieving and they needed lots of therapy, and I needed to be able to spend more time with them. And so I went from a full-time position to a part-time, which means I had to change to another school. It all turned out beautifully. It worked perfectly for me, and I really enjoy the people that I work with. And so it was a really fresh change for me, and it enabled me to not be triggered by things that were triggering me before in my old job. Whether you are working at home, whether you're working outside of your home, even if you're not working, dress for success. That means that the better you feel on the outside, or the better you look on the outside, the better you're going to feel on the inside. So it doesn't mean that you have to wear high-heeled shoes to sweep your floor. But if you walk around in your pajamas from the time you get up and then you just stay in your pajamas to the time you go to bed, it's going to be hard for you to flip the switch and flip mentally into that work mode, or that awake mode, or that active mode. If you are going to work and you're kind of frumple and you're not taking care of yourself, then your attitude is going to kind of reflect that too. You know, just try to put in some effort, fix your hair, you know, wear something nice. You deserve it. You deserve to look good. So go ahead and do that for yourself. And you will find that you will perform better. You'll have a better attitude when you are dressed for success. You might decide that you want to better yourself and go for a better job, or a different job, or a whole completely different career. Sign up for some classes. Go to college. Take some classes for a skill that you want to learn, something that you might be interested in. Go take some cooking classes if you want to learn how to cook. So explore some things that are out there for you. It's never too late to learn something new. You never know. You might find yourself in a new career, something you love. And lastly, you could start a business. You know, you could start an Etsy shop. You could open up a store. You could start some crafts and go to craft shows if craft shows ever come back. You know, figure out what your interest is, or figure out where there's a hole in the market somewhere and go out there and start your own business. And go out there and try to get a business loan and see what you can get started. The fifth area of growth is going to be relationships. This is kind of a big one. because it does seem like when we lose our spouse, the dynamics of our relationships changes a whole bunch. My late husband's mother, I don't know if she's called my mother-in-law or I just call her my kid's grandma. Family dynamics change a lot, and a lot of people wonder, like, should I keep my relationship with my in-laws? What happens if I start to date? How does that work? A lot of times those family relationships get a little strained after we lose our spouse, and it's unfortunate, and it does happen sometimes. Sometimes if there are stepchildren that the natural parent, the biological parent dies, then those bonds are broken, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen. A lot of family dynamics change after the death of a spouse. A lot of times friendships change, because if you were in a couple and you had another couple that you're friends with, then it would be kind of weird for you to go along and hang out with the couple anymore. And so it's like, do you find single friends? Do you find widowed friends? Do you find groups of friends? It's hard to find your place in society when you're a widow, because there's not very many of us out there in one place. It's kind of tough. If it's hard to find friends or people who can relate to you in person, you can find friends online. There are tons and tons of groups. There are tons of Facebook groups. There are tons of meetup groups. Just go out there and start searching, and you will find a group of people that with like common interests. It doesn't have to be a widow group, but you might want to start there. If you have some kind of interest or some craft or some hobby, then join some groups of people who do that, and just, that way you can connect with people. Even if you don't connect with them in person, you can at least connect with them in some way so that you can kind of get your socialization and reconnect with people again. One way to get back into socialization is to go ahead and commit to an event. Either commit to attending an event or commit to hosting an event if you're really brave. Once you commit and you tell people that you're going to go or you're going to do it, then you're kind of on the hook for it. And so you are less likely to chicken out if you've gone ahead and RSVP'd to a party or some kind of holiday event or something like that. So events aren't happening as much as they used to because of what's going on in 2020 and 2021, but just go ahead and commit. If you have children and you have lost a spouse, especially if you have minor children, something you did not realize until after you were a widow or a widower, that raising grieving children is so much harder than grieving yourself, and it lasts for a long, long, long time. And grief manifests out of children in the strangest ways. I have 4 kids. Every last one of them grieved in a different way and had a different set of problems that came out when their dad died. So it's really tough. And just know that it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of love. It's going to take maybe some therapy. 2 of my kids go to therapy now. One of them has been to therapy. Another one's grown, but she takes herself to therapy. Now she wants to be a therapist. So just know that raising grieving kids is tough. I wish I could tell you that it wasn't, and I wish I could have some answers on how to do it, because I feel like I'm failing at it every day. But it's tough. It's really hard. Join some groups of other, widowed parents and see if you can commiserate with them, because I wish I had more advice for you. All I can do is to say, I know what you're going through, because I'm going through it too, and it's really hard. And the last thing I want to talk about in relationships is dating. So many people want to know how long is an appropriate time to start dating? Is it too soon? What if I never want to date again? Is that okay? Everybody is grieving at their own pace. Everybody gets to the dating phase at their own time. Sometimes it's never, and sometimes it's pretty quick. You know what? Do you. Okay? Whatever feels right, and you don't have to jump into something serious right away. Or you might go out there and just find that next person. Everybody's different, and it's okay. A lot of times you'll feel guilty when you first start dating, because you kind of almost feel like you're cheating on your spouse. That's just something that kind of happens over time, and eventually it kind of fades away. Dating is kind of unusual, because you may not have been in the dating scene for like 20, 30, 40 years, and dating is a lot different now than it was probably when you met your late spouse. You're in for a roller coaster. But I'm glad I'm not in the dating game anymore. I'm remarried. I waited about 4 months, and I started to kind of date a little bit and here and there, and started to want to get serious after about a year. And I met my current husband about 2 years out. He was 7 weeks out. his wife had died, so it wasn't even 2 months, and I'm the first person that he went out with. So it was completely different for both of us, but we're both widowed, and we both found each other, and we just kind of knew. It was almost like that love at first sight kind of thing. It did kind of happen that way. And 5 months later we were married, so you know, it just happened. We just, when you know, you know. All right, so that's it for the five areas of growth. But I want to tell you, you can't hit all 5 areas. You need to hit one area, and you can't even hit that one area, all of it at one time. So if you're not sure how to move forward, if you're not sure how to kind of get started to find happiness, first of all, narrow it down to one of the 5, and go ahead and comment below and let me know what one of those 5 that you're going to try to work on. Start next month if you want to, start next week, start tomorrow, start right now if you want to, but you know, figure out what area you're going to focus on, and then narrow it down to a couple of things that you want to focus on in your life that you want to try to change, because it's really hard and becomes overwhelming if you think about too much. Set 2 or 3 small attainable goals for yourself, something you can measure, something that doesn't take forever, you know, like little baby steps. Set yourself little mini goals that you can reach from, you know, over a couple of days or a couple of weeks time, and then when you get to that goal, then make another goal and keep on moving farther. So just make sure it's something small so that you can feel a sense of accomplishment. Also, I wrote a blog post about this same topic, and so it's got a few other little tidbits in there, so if you want to read that blog post, I'll go ahead and post the link below, and then you can go over there and take a look. Also, if you like my shirt, my shirt kind of has the topic of the video today. So I make shirts. I made this shirt, and I'm gonna have a whole series of shirts that are just for the One Happy Widow. They're gonna be kind of motivational messages. So I'll leave a link below, and I will also leave a secret discount code below that you'll be able to put in and get the shirts for a discount. So it'll take you to my Etsy shop, and you can take a look around. If you like this shirt, I can do any color. I can do any color shirt. I can do any color vinyl. So, you know, check it out. Maybe get some motivational shirts, some stuff to kind of get you in the mood and keep you going, and give a little pep in your step and make you feel like getting out and winning the day. Until then, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, and I will catch you next time. Bye.